Hey guys, first thank you all for coming. Thanks for the invitation. I am really new to this, seeing lots of people and talking, and probably it will be terrible. It might be okay, hopefully. So first I would say we need to see some stuff, and then I'll talk about how I basically worked on all these movies, how things rolled in. I'll talk about the creatures and the characters and all the basically VFX industry tricks and tips, and hopefully I'll be able to help. Feel free to, I think there will be time for questions and answers, and then I'll respond to the questions. So let's see all these great productions, and then we'll talk. Cool, thank you. So it's me again. I'll stay here so I can navigate and basically play this thing. There are a few sections where I'll be stopping and talking about each movie and how work was done. Cool, let's do it. I don't know even where the sound will come from, so. Right. So this was basically, just a few words. So I graduated. So I'm coming from a family of artists, my father and my mom. Then I went to, just a quick brief. Then I went to the Fine Arts, High School of Fine Arts, and then to the Academy of Fine Arts. When I graduated, specialty illustration, and then basically the 3D and the sculpting and all that came as just a fluent and normal continuation of my traditional skills. There were some skills, so you know, I didn't know where to go and what to do basically. I loved illustration, but I wasn't sure if and how I'm gonna proceed with this. So then I discovered ZBrush. Many of you probably know it. It's super awesome. And I started working in as a just on my portfolio, just having some fun and translating some of my concepts from previous illustrations into 3D. I am probably the most non-technical person in this room. I mean, I know a few things, but I'm really non-technical, and especially when I started. When I got my first job, it was purely because of the sculpting skills, and this was purely because of the traditional background. What I'm trying to say is that you don't have to be super technical to get a job in the industry. You have to basically love what you do and have fun with your own portfolio, build it, and then I just applied for a job. I got a job in WWFX Sofia. That was a few years back. So I stayed there for less than a year, did some interesting projects. That was the first basically face-to-face meeting programs like Maya and stuff that they are way more technical than just ZBrush and sculpting and pulling and pushing just a sphere. But it was fun, it was stressful. I pretty much learned the software. It's the least time-consuming thing is the technical bit. What took a long time was the background and the drawing and the real sculpting and all this. But yeah, it turned out well. And at some point, after a few projects done here, I just wanted to basically try out there, try bigger company and bigger production, bigger movies. So the first movie that I worked on, this is why I'm starting with Batman and Superman. Not that I love it so much. I'm not a huge comic fan. I should probably not say this. I mean, they're cool. They're cool. I really like them. Now more and more. So Batman and Superman, I went to London. I didn't know anything. Again, technical. I was far behind the other people, but I could sculpt. So they needed someone to really sculpt the creature and translate this from 2D concept to 3D. And then I didn't know I'm gonna work on this. I thought I'm gonna work on Goosebumps, which was still okay, but far from Batman and Superman. And then like it was my, I think, 4th, 5th day. I should shorten that story. My lead came and he said, "Take your jacket, we're going to the head of the company." And we went there and he said, "So are you ready to sculpt Doomsday?" So I was like, you know, it can't be really, you can't be serious, because I just had 6 months in Sofia, and then now I'm here for 5 days. Doomsday, it was a bit like too much, and but it was all right. There was even a person. So in movies, you should know that everything is a little bit, or even a lot more different than in games. Where in games you do a lot more, like you need a broader aspects of your skills. In movies, if you're lucky enough, there could be even a person that only will do the retopologizing for you, and you need to just have fun with Dynamesh and just sculpt stuff and detail it more and more. And you go on the next day, and this guy knows that there are changes coming, and you're detailing more, and he needs to put more in the mesh. So in games, oh my God, you see, I haven't done this. So in games, you do a lot more. You bake maps and you stick to a certain amount of polys or triangles, whatever. Where in movies, you need really to push the quality and get there, so it can be super photoreal, or at least close to. And yeah, there was Will. Will was great. He was retopologizing every day the changes we made. It took nearly 6 or 7 months to do the creature, and there were 2 stages. So I started with basically Doomsday, where he rips his skin off and the bone structure comes out and all this. This was second stage when they tried to kill him. For example, this one, the concept was amazing, but we had to, as a 3D sculptor and someone that is hired for the job, you need to push that and to develop the structure, the material, the skin, even a little bit to change the silhouette and really contribute to the final look of the creature. So it was amazing. It was amazing first creature and first movie. Many people I know out there, you're not happy with the look, but we had a concept. So again, in movies, sometimes the more you progress and the more you build your name and the longer you stay in the industry, you build your reputation. People know who you are, how your sculpts look like, and then they will give you more basically creative input. When you start or when the client is, they think they know everything, then you have to stick to the concept. And this is a little bit unfortunate, especially if you know you can improve this or that. But this is how it is. Then for the creature, basically, I was sculpting, there was a guy retoping the whole thing, and then we had to detail it even further to do the displacement. This is the difference between games and movies. We're using displacement, multiple displacement maps. These are maps that basically you unwrap and wrap on the creature. It's like a box in the end. Everything is a map. So you have a volume and then you have a map, you apply it and you get the detail and you render that. Yeah, texturing team did an amazing job, and we got this thing moving and live on a big screen. So then I had to basically, the industry, the VFX industry is way more, I should probably, I don't know, not say this, but it's more unstable. It's more about the creature and about the show, the movie that you're working on. Basically, if you're not interested in really like, okay, I love doing this and I love creating this sculpt or that creature, it's going to be difficult for you because the security in our job is not really up there. It's more project-based. Of course, obviously, if you're doing well, you stay longer in the company and you want to change only if you want to change. So this project ended and I moved on to another company. This is, by the way, all this, I must say this because it's important. This is work by the incredible NPC. They own everything and Warner Brothers are having the copyrights. So I'm just showing what they did. I had a small part on it. So then I had to move on and went to Framestore, which is another big company that they're doing an amazing job, and started working on King Arthur, which was the new Guy Ritchie movie. And I'll show you now a little bit again, and we'll talk. Boom. Yeah, so this guy, again, the villain of the movie, it was very, very challenging because basically it's a big guy, very muscular. It doesn't sound that complicated, but basically Guy Ritchie didn't really know exactly how the final look will be. We had a vague concept. But had to develop this a lot further, and they wanted the helm off and on, and then we had to do the, like, Jude Law played Nemesis. I hope there are no spoilers here. It's too, like, it was a long time ago, so I don't care. So yeah, helm on and off and on and off, and then in the end, they, like, we spent, like, I don't know, like 2-3 months working on the face, doing all the facial expressions and everything, but it didn't. I mean, Guy Ritchie just decided, no, he's gonna be the whole time with a helm, so all that work was thrown away, which was, you know, a pity, but it was fine. I was like, okay, I did the torso, you see. Yeah, it was very challenging, because when you do photoreal human or something close to human, you, like, the human eye is very well trained, and we see humans everywhere, every day, and we can recognize when something is off. So back then, Framestore was really pushing their rigging system, and they wanted to spend very little time on shot sculpting. And shot sculpting, I'm not sure how many people are familiar with it, is basically you're shifting the volume and shot sculpting it, but in shot, which says every frame, let's say you have a sequence, a shot of, I don't know, 150 frames. So every frame, this thing changes, and you have to, you know, change there, sculpt this, that, and it's changing the whole body. So when the fight is dynamic, they didn't want to go and shot sculpt every single frame, but they wanted to make the rigging really work. So as a main, like, modeler and sculptor on this thing, I had to speak with rigging and really start working closely with them, so we can come up with, we build the skeleton, we build the entire muscle system, and then they started tests, and it was all right, but in the end, you know, add more smoke and more motion blur, and it's starting to look better. But yeah, we worked. It was an interesting thing, because basically the sculpt was finally, we had to get the muscles so close to the skin so they can so the skin can be wrapped back to the muscles with the internal skeleton, and when the rigging and animation moves the creature, to not have a difference with what I've sculpted. So that's a different thing if you start, you just sculpt something and there's nothing. It's just like, you know, there's no thickness of this digital pixels, I mean, polygons. But when we had to build for real the muscles and the skeleton, then basically you need to be so close that when you wrap the skin, the silhouette and what Guy Ritchie says, okay, this is the final look, it doesn't have to change. And when the animators start to, that's why I'm doing this all the time, like showing the animators, when they start moving the creature, then it's supposed to be, okay, it's done, like from the first go, and there will be no shot sculpting. Of course there was, but it was a fair test, and they developed a lot more the rigging system. The creature worked in the end. And then I, after finishing this one, went to Industrial Light and Magic, which was, still is my favorite. It was great. So that's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes they let you off, like, okay, the project is done, you can go, or you can say, like, they can tell you, well, we like your work, we would like you to stay for the next project, but if you're not interested in the creature or the project itself, then you have to move on, even though it's not so safe, and you don't want to just stay somewhere and be safe if you're not having fun and if you're not really working what you love to do. So I wanted to, again, that thing, yeah, assistant now. So I really love what I do, and it's basically my hobby. So that's why I wanted to understand what's the next project for ILM, and moved on to that step. So we'll see a little bit from that thing, and then I'll take again microphone. So. Oh, yeah.
What is
No,
that?
you see? That was great work. Okay, let's see it.
Look who just woke up. We're getting out of here.
What are you doing?
Escaping.
You sure about this?
Nope.
Did the bricks.
Okay.
Hey, you! Look at me! Look at me! Hey! Come with me! Come with me! Okay, there you go. You're welcome.
There's more.
Hey, buddy. You think what I'm thinking?
Once, twice, sold to the Russian friend. This magnificent animal.
That's a spoiler again. Okay, so this little guy, the Stigy Moloch. So yeah, I moved to Jurassic World, which was like a dream, because I've listened about all this digital world and how they make the dinosaurs and all that since I'm like little kid, and then finally had my own dinosaur. And they were even like a few of the dinosaurs, but this one was really started like it's not gonna be the main, right? You can't always do the main thing. So, but it turned out obviously like successful, and the director really liked it. So they gave Stigy a little bit more time, like screen time. And then more and more, and yeah, like he saved the guys. So building the dinosaurs from scratch was a great experience. We started with a very vague concept. This was the difference between ILM and, let's say, some other companies. So ILM are up there, and I mean the others are as well, but they're a little bit longer in the business, so they have more ownership and more creative input over the creatures. So basically, if you're part of them and you're one of them, when someone gives the concept or the director wants ILM to build this, they know that, okay, they have the people to improve it, and we don't have to really stick to how the concept looks like, because the artists there, they can push the boundaries and they can, you know, help developing the creature even more and looking even better. So some of the dinosaurs were reused from the previous previous part, but we had to basically up-res them. First, because the director wanted to get closer and closer to each dinosaur. And second, because the team in London, so ILM has multiple locations. They have San Francisco, Vancouver, and London, and Singapore. We were the one in London, and my colleagues were extremely, like, really good, amazing. So the work in London was done so well that people from San Francisco and the dinosaurs, that they had to take care of them. In the end, they were shifted to London, and we had to upres their work as well. So that was a, it was very, very intense project. I've learned a lot. We not only sculpted them, concepted them, and built the topology, but also we were responsible for facial shapes, for like squashing their feet and the tensing of the muscles, and all that was built. Texturing as well. And then the render guys and the look dev, they took over and they did an amazing job. So now another dinosaur, and then I'll talk again.
What do we do?
You see? Let's... Oh no, not the whole thing.
Fire! What do we do? What do we do?
It's stuck! Chair!
Come on! Let's go! Come on, Franklin!
We made it! Yeah!
Right. So different dinosaurs, same story. Lots of time and all these scales. We tried multiple things, like we tried using scans and lower the manual work. But unfortunately, after a while, you don't want just to cover just to cover primary form with alphas and details, and yeah, it's done. Look how detailed it is. It doesn't work that way. All the details, they have to basically follow first the structure, but they have there is a meaning behind them. So all the scales were in the end placed basically manually, and that was the best way. It was just looking best. And this was the baryonyx. The story was back and forth between London and San Francisco. We did more of the concept of the creature, and then they had to basically take over. But at some point, as I said, they returned the creature, and we had to pretty much texture it and detail it, and it is what it is now on the big screen. After ILM, even though the project was amazing and the time there was really, really nice, again, because the next project wasn't that interesting for me, and the work, I wasn't that interested in just joining, because basically it works like this. So out there, you're a few good sculptors in the company, I mean, like creature sculptors. The modelers in the movie industry, they're divided in two. So in game industry, they're like multiple, or you do everything. But in the movie industry, you do or mostly organic stuff or hard surface stuff. So I was the creature modeler of these. So when there is like, okay, we need to build that ship or gun or whatever, you know that's not gonna come to your door, which is good. I like that. So after this one, joining Aladdin, that's what ILM is working on. It would be probably a great movie, but it wasn't that interesting for me since they had to basically recreate photoreal animals. And also, once you're started and you're main modeler on a movie, there is another team that they are finishing the previous movie. So then when they move to the new project, if you join that team, you will be probably not doing so important stuff. So you can stay there and be safe, or you can again chase and pursue your, I don't know, next creature or something that you would like to have in your reel or portfolio. And this is how, basically, again, Worldwide FX got in contact with me. And now they, as you know, New Buyana and Millennium, they bought the rights of Hellboy. So they wanted to do a reboot and basically fund a whole new office in London, not only in Sofia. So what happened is I had the chance, and I was lucky enough to start working there as supervising the work and basically doing one of the main creatures of our sequence. I'm co-supervising the work with another great colleague of mine and great friend as well. So basically the team there at the moment, just very brief, is purely people from ILM, DNEG, and DNEG is short for double negative, and Framestore. So the skill set of these people is really amazing. So I'm lucky enough to work with them, and even though we are just a small 20 something people office, we are lucky enough to work on a big production as Hellboy and basically compete with other studios like Rhythm and Hues, which won, like, you know, Academy Award, Oscar for Life of Pi, and they're doing still amazing job as well on Game of Thrones. So they're the other main vendor on Hellboy, and then we have Mr. X and Rhythm and Hues, our studio. So yeah, this is where I stand now, and this is my short path of this in this VFX industry. And there's nothing more. There's just like a one still frame of what we're doing now. I can show you only very briefly, and then I have to. Yeah, this is the creature we are working on right now. Whoop! Stay there, stay there. Ah, okay, cool. No, oh, terrible. Okay, it's done. So this creature, super challenging, being on top of the, basically supervising the work and responsible for creating the creature and sculpting it. It was super tricky because basically you have to do a lot of stuff and then supervise a few other departments like compositing, rendering, look dev, animation, etc. And then you have to go back to your desk and continue sculpting, but you need time, you know, to get into it. So this is it. I don't want to take more of your time. Thank you very much for listening. Yeah, cheers.
Any questions?
Hello. So you mentioned that.
Oh yeah. Hey. I'm like, oh my God.
You mentioned that you've been shot sculpting a lot.
Yeah.
Which is basically, as far as I understand, another name for rotoscoping.
Yeah. Yeah. Please continue.
So how far do you believe the industry is from actual rigging with muscle simulations to a satisfactory degree?
Well, it's still quite far, to be honest, because even though they have developed this, I mean, they keep improving their rigging system, right? But when you see the final result, basically the shot sculpting is not so close to rotoscoping, but it's more of a you're changing the digital volume and the shape of the creatures. But still, yeah, I know what you mean. And sometimes you can get away with a lot better results just by shot sculpting and not spending so much time on improving the rigging system, and then in the end you play the whole thing, animation comes in, they break everything, and then, come on man, it's like you need to put back the anatomy and the structure, so anyway there will be shot sculpting. And this is something that, for example, ILM are spending a lot of time, and this is why they just have a great schedule and they accomplish such a great result, because they know how much time they have to put even in shot sculpting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have to go on, unfortunately. So thank you very much, Ran.
Yeah, thanks again. Yay.